Hey everybody, this is Dave Nassie with NextLevelGuitar.com. How you doing? Alright, just like usual, we're shifting gears and we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to talk about these low tunings that you hear all the time, and we're going to talk about ways to create some riffs with these low tunings. Right? Whoa, ugly, but beautiful for all those that really love it, right? Before I forget, you see that link down there in the YouTube text box. Please click on that link that you see right down there if you want a video that is not available on YouTube, as well as an additional free ebook that covers a bunch of different scales and things that you can do over many different changes and all kinds of styles. Click on that YouTube text box right there below. So what we're doing is we're in a drop B tuning, and we're gonna treat this kind of from a different perspective here, right? When you go and you change all the tunings of your strings, or you start dropping the tunings of your strings, the notes that you refer to on the guitar are going to completely change. Note for this video, I'm going to talk about it as if we are in standard tuning because it's easier for people to understand. So that's really, really important to think about. If you want to tune to me, we'll go ahead and list the tuning right here for you. But if you want to just conceptually talk about what we're doing, we're going to refer to this as if we're in open tuning just because it's easier, and I think it's better for the transfer of the information that we're going to talk about today. So what I'm going to talk about is playing or riffing out in a drop tuning. So I'm going to refer to this as the key of D minor. Right? Okay, so a lot of times when people play in these tunings, they'll use heavier strings, right? We're dropping down pretty far. As I said, again, I'll reiterate this quite a few times. Talking as though we're in standard tuning, matching the tuning of my guitar, you'll see that I'm in drop B. What we do is we'll usually use heavier gauge strings so that way we don't have so much flap on those lower ends. Sometimes they take a little bit of adjusting within the guitar. I recommend that you take your guitar to get set up to somebody if you're going to go ahead and do this. A lot of the times if you have a Floyd Rose and you detune your guitar and you put heavier strings on it, that guy's going to go and get cranked forward, and then you're going to be left with wondering what just happened to my guitar and how can I fix it. So what you really want to do is, that's a whole nother video lesson. We want to just say that right now, go to your trusty local guy that authorized service tech, exactly, and get your guitar set up for the modern age of metal, I guess you'd want to say. So, as I said, we're in the key of D minor. What I want to talk about is how to get yourself out of kind of a bind when we're riffing within this, you know. A lot of the times what I've characteristically found is people are comfortable coming up with riffs that sound cool, but they don't know what they're doing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, by any stretch of the imagination. If it sounds cool, it is cool. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to put some names and some association to some of the riffage that you're doing. So, if I'm in the key of D minor, again, as I said, referring to it in standard tuning, we're going to talk about the key of F major. D minor is a relative minor to F major. So what we want to think about is playing from our first position. Now, check this out. We have detuned. So everything that happens on the 6th string is going to happen one whole step higher than it typically does when we go through this. So if I outline this major scale shape, that is going, I'm going to call off frets just for the explanation. It's going to go 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Right now I'm back in my tuning. I have 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5. What I need to do those lower strings is I got to shift up that whole step, so that gives me here. And that keeps us within the tonality, so you have what I suggest to do to get comfortable with this is to use your low string as a bit of a pivot note. And you can go through some of the notes within your scale shape and you can just get an idea of how these things work over that low droning string. So what I'm going to do is this. typical kind of movement. What I was doing was just pivoting, like I said, off that low string, starting right here on what would be in standard tuning my F note. I'll be honest, I have no idea what's going to come next when I'm playing this right now. For the sake of this video, this is all improv, but the idea is still totally the same, so let's hope for some cool stuff. The idea of it here. Right? Remember, your power chords all become one finger on that low string when you're detuned. That's another thing. And so you've got all this. Throwing some of those harmonics. Pinch harmonics on a very heavy gauge string that is detuned takes a bit more control and a bit more execution, but let's talk about how to do those pinch harmonics for those of you that don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this on the 5th fret, and it's a comfortable motion of just using the pick and your thumb at the same time, right? So I'll hold it up to the camera. I'm actually just hitting it right there. I'm going to turn sideways so you can kind of see what I'm doing. When I hit this, my thumb and my pick are crossing at the same time. Now, you want to establish the note before you manipulate it with your left hand. If you try to like apply a bunch of vibrato with it, before you strike that note, you're going to have a bunch of noise that's going to die out on you. So you want to make sure and hit that note, and you can get all Zach Wild on your low string, right? It has a different pitch depending upon where you're going to hit it on the guitar. Further back, going forward, going back, kind of its own effect and coolness all in its own right, right? But that's how we're going to execute these. And when we play them on thinner strings or strings that are higher up on the guitar, you're still going to execute it the exact same way. It applies the same on every single string. Okay, so we've covered one scale position, and we've pivoted off of our low string only in one spot. So what we're going to do is talk about Dorian, and Dorian's going to be shifting again now. We're starting on our 5th fret because we're detuned. We have a whole step and half step motion. Then we go to our typical Dorian shape. Okay, so again, pivoting. All I'm doing is grabbing notes out of scale. Sticking true to those shapes. I can play some different intervals and fingerings within those as long as I stay with that low string droning in it. It's going to work out just fine. So what am I doing? With my middle finger and my first finger, I've got a minor triad that I'm building right there. So essentially it's a D minor chord, talking again in standard tuning. I've got a different kind of fingering there. I've got my middle finger on my D, I've got my first finger on my F, and then what I'm doing is I'm actually just kind of keeping my index finger down, extending that pinky down, so I get a power chord, D power chord. So I'm actually getting a minor tonality, and then I'm just going back to that root and 5th tonality. I threw in that note right there with my 3rd finger. Talking about it in standard tuning, it would be a G, right? This one right here. This is our nice 4th interval that we've got going on. So we're basically doing 3rds, 4ths, and 5ths. Now, pivoting off of our low note. Just doing some random kind of play within those scale shapes, and it's a nice simple way to kind of create some good ideas with it. Now let's do one more shape, and then I think we're pretty much set you off on a nice little tangent. I want to talk about some inside picking that we can do with our right hand, and maybe some 16th note triplets that people do oftentimes with this stuff in this tuning. So what we've got going on here then is we're going to go to our Phrygian shape, or the 3rd mode, And we're going to start again. This thing's got to move up a whole step. So we have whole step, half step. I must say those are some meat and potato notes within this riff right here, so we're going to have to do something with that. But you have... Right. So again, some random riffing. So oftentimes what you'll see within this style of music, and a lot of what I'll do within my band as well, is what is commonly referred to as inside picking. If you have a different name for it, by all means share, because this is the only one that I know. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on, or we can call it economy picking. Back in the 80s we used to say that. So you have a different kind of motion with your right hand. If you notice, what I'm doing is I'm starting that first note with a downstroke, and then I'm hitting my pivoting note here with an upstroke. So if I do a riff, I'm just going between my first finger and my pinky, 5th fret and 8th fret. What that riff turned out to be was this. Those notes are going to go, or those frets rather, are 5, 8, 5, 7, 4th string, 8, 5, 8 on our 4th string, and then back to those 8, 5 on the 5th string, and all the while doing the inside picking on the low string. It's a different kind of motion to execute. Again, really slow. You've got some jumping going on there. When I go to that 4th string, you're exactly right. I have to jump over that 5th string and get to it. So what you want to be careful of is that you don't really rotate your wrist, or you don't turn anything and do anything drastic. You still just want to go slow. Keep it as comfortable as possible. That's a different picking style that's kind of executed when coming up with some general riffs within this. Now, like I said, this is information that's going to be for you to take with you and to kind of experiment with. And more importantly, what is going on is we are referring to these D tunings as being in the key of D minor or F major, as if we're in standard tuning, and we've connected our diatonic scale shapes. You're going to be able to come up with a lot of neat riffs. And have a grand old time at a really loud volume that your parents will love. So please, everybody, go to our website and find out all the other cool things that you can do there. nextlevelguitar.com. I'm there. I've got more videos there. Here's another one coming right at you. Thanks for checking it out. I appreciate it. Yeah.